Okay, Zach, before we go too deep today, I want to ask you something super basic. When people say money mindset, what do you think they actually mean?
Honestly, for a long time, I thought it was just some fancy phrase people use on Instagram to sell courses. Like, change your mindset, get rich in 30 days. Sounds sketchy.
Same. I used to roll my eyes so hard at that phrase. But the older I get, the more I realize it's actually real, just not as dramatic as people make it sound.
Exactly. I think money mindset is basically how you think and feel about money, like your beliefs, your habits, your reactions. Not how much money you have, but how your brain talks to itself about money.
Yes, super simple. It's not your bank balance, it's the story you tell yourself about money. Is money scary? Is it hard to get? Is it something you feel guilty about wanting? Or is it just a tool?
A tool. I like that word. Because growing up, money never felt like a tool. It felt like stress, like tension in the air.
Oh, same here. In my house, money was always a sensitive topic. If adults talked about money, their voices went quiet, like money was some kind of family secret.
Right? And that stuff sticks with you. People don't realize how early money mindset starts. It's not taught in school, it's absorbed. You pick it up from comments like, we can't afford that, or money doesn't grow on trees.
Or my favorite one, people like us don't do that. That sentence alone can limit someone for life.
That's powerful, yeah. So if we explain money mindset in the simplest way possible, I'd say it's the lens you use to look at money.
Exactly. And through that lens, there are two really common mindsets people fall into, not because they're bad or lazy, just because that's what they learned.
Let me guess, the poor or limited mindset and the successful mindset.
Bingo! And before anyone gets offended, poor mindset doesn't mean poor people. It means a way of thinking.
Thank you for saying that, because I've met broke people with a successful mindset and rich people with a poor mindset.
Same. Okay, so let's talk about the poor or limited mindset first. How would you describe it?
I'd say it's driven by fear, fear of not having enough, fear of losing money, fear of taking risks. People with this mindset often think money is limited, like there's only a small pie, and if someone else gets a bigger slice, you get less.
Yeah, and they usually focus on short-term comfort, like, I worked hard, I deserve to spend this now, which is understandable, but sometimes it turns into self-sabotage.
Totally. And they often say things like, I'm just bad with money, or that's for rich people, not me.
Or, I'll start saving when I make more. That one is so common.
Oh, I used to say that all the time. Spoiler alert, when I made more, I just spent more.
Same here. Lifestyle creep is real. Money comes in, money goes out, no plan, no intention.
Another thing about the limited mindset is that people see money as emotional, like money equals security, money equals worth, money equals success as a person.
Yeah, so when they don't have enough money, they feel like they are not enough.
Which is heavy and exhausting.
Very. Now let's compare that with a successful mindset. Not rich, successful.
For me, a successful mindset is calmer, less drama. People see money as something they can learn to manage, grow, and use intentionally.
Yes, they don't panic as much. They don't freak out every time something goes wrong financially. They're like, okay, this sucks. What's the lesson?
Exactly. They focus on growth instead of blame. Instead of saying, I'm bad with money, they say, I haven't learned this yet.
That yet makes a huge difference.
Huge. Successful-minded people also believe money is expandable, that there are opportunities everywhere if you're willing to look, learn, and try.
And they don't see other people's success as a threat. They see it as proof. Like, if they can do it, maybe I can too.
Right. Whereas a limited mindset goes, must be nice, with a side of jealousy.
Yes, that passive-aggressive, good for them.
We've all been there.
For sure. Okay, Let's make this real with a story, something very everyday. No million-dollar startup stories.
Oh, I've got one. This one still makes me cringe a little.
Perfect. Go ahead.
So, a few years ago, I had a small bonus from work. Nothing crazy. And I remember thinking, I deserve something nice. So I spent almost all of it in one weekend. New clothes, fancy dinner, random stuff I didn't even need.
Retail therapy.
Exactly. Dopamine everywhere. But 2 months later, my laptop broke, and I had no savings. I remember sitting there thinking, why does this always happen to me?
Let me guess. You blamed bad luck.
100%. I thought the universe was against me. But looking back, it wasn't bad luck. It was my mindset. I treated extra money like a reward, not a responsibility.
That hits home. I had a similar moment. I once got a small raise, and instead of thinking long-term, I upgraded my phone immediately.
Of course you did.
Of course. And then a few months later, I was stressed about rent. Same pattern. Money comes, money disappears.
And the crazy part is, at the time, we didn't think we were making bad decisions. They felt normal.
Because that's what we were taught. Spend what you earn. Celebrate now. Worry later.
Meanwhile, a friend of mine did something totally different. He got a similar bonus and didn't change his lifestyle at all.
That already sounds suspicious.
Right? I thought he was boring, but instead, he used that money to pay off a small debt and started an emergency fund. Nothing flashy.
And I'm guessing he slept better at night?
Like a baby. And that's when I realized successful money mindset isn't loud. It's quiet. It's boring. It's consistent.
That's such an important point. People think successful thinking means being obsessed with money, but it's actually the opposite. Less emotional attachment.
Less stress, less panic, more clarity.
And more control, even with small amounts, especially with small amounts.
Yeah, because mindset shows up before the money does, not after.
That's the key. People say, when I have money, I'll think differently, but it doesn't work like that.
You think differently first, then your actions change, then the money follows.
Slowly, not overnight.
Always slowly.
So, if someone listening right now feels stuck financially, it doesn't mean they're lazy or broken.
It just means they might be running on an old script.
A script they didn't choose.
You know, Lucy, what you just said about running on an old script really stuck with me. Because once you notice it, you start seeing it everywhere. In your spending, your saving, even in the way you talk about money out loud.
Exactly. It's like once the curtain is pulled back, you can't unsee it. And that's where successful people are different. Not because they're smarter, but because they've rewritten that script.
And one of the biggest differences is how they think long-term, like really long-term.
Yes, they're not just thinking about this weekend or this month, they're thinking about future versions of themselves. And honestly, that alone changes everything.
I used to live paycheck to paycheck mentally. Even when I wasn't technically broke, my brain was always like, what feels good right now? Not what helps me 6 months from now.
Same. Successful people delay gratification, not in a miserable way, but in a thoughtful way. They ask, is this worth it, instead of, can I afford it?
That's such a good distinction because you can afford a lot of things that still aren't worth it.
Exactly. Just because you can buy something doesn't mean you should. Successful thinkers zoom out. They see purchases as trade-offs.
Like, if I spend this now, what am I giving up later?
Yes, and they're okay with boring decisions today because they want freedom tomorrow.
That reminds me of my cousin. He drove the same old car for years while everyone else was upgrading. People made jokes about it.
Let me guess, he's doing just fine now.
More than fine. He saved aggressively, invested early, and now has options. Not flashy, but solid.
That's the thing. Successful people value options. Options to quit a job, take a break, move cities, say no.
Money equals options, not happiness, not status, options.
And that mindset takes pressure off because money stops being emotional and starts being strategic.
Which brings us to another big one. They see money as a skill.
Oh, I love this one because skills can be learned.
Exactly. Successful people don't say, I'm bad with money. They say, I haven't learned how to manage it yet.
That's such a powerful shift. Money isn't personality, it's not talent, it's not luck, it's literacy.
And just like any skill, you're going to mess up at first.
Oh, for sure. Nobody picks up a guitar and plays perfectly on day one.
But with money, people expect themselves to be perfect immediately, and when they're not, they quit.
Or they avoid it completely. They don't check their bank account. They don't track spending. They pretend the problem doesn't exist.
Successful people do the opposite. They face the numbers, even when it's uncomfortable.
Especially when it's uncomfortable. They treat it like data, not a judgment.
Data, not drama. I love that.
They ask questions like, where is my money actually going? Instead of, why am I so bad at life?
Huge difference. One leads to solutions, the other leads to shame.
And shame never fixed anyone's finances.
Facts. Another thing successful people understand is that mistakes are part of the process. They're not afraid of messing up.
This one took me a long time to learn. I used to think one bad decision meant I was doomed forever.
Same. Like if I invested wrong or overspent one month, I'd think, well, I blew it. Might as well give up.
All or nothing thinking, very common.
Successful people don't do that. They treat mistakes like feedback.
Exactly. They don't panic, they adjust. They go, okay, that didn't work. What can I do differently next time?
And because they're not afraid of mistakes, they're willing to try new things. Side hustles, investments, negotiating salaries.
That part is huge. People with limited mindsets avoid risk completely. Successful people manage risk.
Right. They don't jump blindly, but they don't freeze either.
I once talked to someone who said, I'd rather make a small mistake now than a big regret later. That stuck with me.
That's a great way to put it, because doing nothing is also a decision, and often the most expensive one.
Oof, that one hurts a little.
Yeah, learned that the hard way.
Haven't we all?
Another thing I notice about successful people is how much they care about small habits, not big dramatic changes.
Yes, small habits matter way more than people think.
Like automatically saving a small percentage of income, tracking expenses once a week, reading a few pages about finance instead of scrolling.
They don't wait for motivation, they build systems.
Systems over willpower every time.
Because willpower runs out, systems don't.
Successful people also understand consistency beats intensity. They don't try to fix everything overnight.
They're patient. They know real change is slow and kinda boring.
There's that word again, boring.
Boring is underrated.
Honestly, boring finances are peaceful finances.
Amen to that. And these small habits create identity shifts. You start seeing yourself differently.
Like, I'm someone who plans, or I'm someone who thinks ahead.
And once your identity changes, your behavior follows naturally.
That's real success. Not sudden wealth, but stability, confidence, choice.
And the best part, you don't need a lot of money to think this way.
You can start with $10.
Or $0, just awareness.
Exactly. Successful thinking isn't about where you are, it's about the direction you're moving.
So if someone listening feels behind, that's okay.
You're not late. You're just early in your learning.
And the moment you start thinking differently about money,
Your future starts to shift.
quietly,
Slowly.
but permanently.
And that's the kind of success that actually lasts.
Couldn't have said it better.
All right, let's end it there before we sound too wise.
Yeah, before people think we have it all figured out.
Spoiler alert, we don't.
But we're learning, and that's the whole point.
Always.